Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Directions Mag Geospatial webinar, today sponsored by our friends at Nearmap. I'm Barbara Duke, the managing editor here at Directions Magazine, joined by our webinar producer, Lynette Qualia. We hope you'll read the latest geospatial news and articles, listen to podcasts, or watch a webinar you missed at directionsmag.com. So today we're excited to have a talented panel with us to talk about how we integrate imagery, AI data sets, and ready-to-use apps to enhance our city workflows. Welcome to Tim Connor, Kevin Korth, Kevin Steele, Cheryl Trent, and Paul Van Haren.
All right, this is Kevin Korth. I am the solutions engineer for the government vertical here at Nearmap. So today we're going to go over just an intro to VertiGIS Studio and Nearmap. We've got some really awesome customer use case stories. Oklahoma County assessors and the city of Kelowna. We've got some really awesome stories to share with you today and some cool content to show you as well. And then we're going to go through a product demo, Paul and I, kind of showing what our products look like inside of VertiGIS Studio. And then we'll open it up for questions and answers at the end. All right, so thank you all for taking the time to meet with us today. We're super happy to have you, and we're super excited to share all this content, both with our customers and then as partners with VertiGIS. So a little bit about Nearmap. Thank you all again for responding to the poll as well. I thought that we'd have more people that were aware of the two companies together, but this is good because then we're not repeating so much. So I'm just going to take 2 minutes to kind of cover what Nearmap is about, and then I'll send it over to Paul so he can discuss what's going on over at VertiGIS. So Nearmap is actually headquartered in Sydney, Australia. We were established in 2007 and since have expanded our capture footprint into the US, Canada, and New Zealand. We're currently listed on Australia's ASX 300 index, and we're proudly streaming our aerial imagery and vector AI content to 10,000 plus active customers around the globe. We are the first to have a patented photogrammetric end-to-end imagery processing pipeline. And we'll get a little bit into that a little bit more. I know it's a little mouthful there. But basically, we're able to take our imagery post-capture and very quickly orthorectify it and serve it up to the cloud so that you can access it within a few days after capture. In March 2020, we're very proud that Fast Company named us Nearmap one of the world's 10 most innovative enterprise companies. We've been partners with VertiGIS, and as recent as 2019, we have monthly meetings with both to make sure that we're all in lockstep with each other and are aware of each other's ambitions. Next slide, please. So this is just a look at our capture footprint. So Nearmap's goal is to target urbanized areas. So you can see in the statistics below, just breaking it out by country, we're targeting where the heavy populations are. So in the US, we're covering 80% of the population. Canada is 64%. And when I say that we're capturing the majority of those populations, it's not just one capture per year. It's anywhere from, depending on the location, anywhere from 1 to 3 times per year in the US and Canada, and then up to 6 times per year in Australia. Next slide. Oh, there we go. So we don't just produce high resolution vertical imagery, we actually produce a variety of different products that are derived from our photogrammetric processing pipeline. So the vertical is our base orthorectified aerial imagery, but then we also produce a panoramic and oblique imagery, which is a 45-degree look from all 4 cardinal directions. We've got 5 3D derivative products that we can create from that oblique imagery. And then we've got a really long growing list of vector and raster AI products as well. Now I'll kick it over to you, Paul. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, glad to be here with you all today. Yeah, I'll just provide a quick overview, as Kevin said, of the VertiGIS Studio product line. One thing I'll mention actually right off the top is the product name, VertiGIS Studio, and this, I realize this might have impacted the initial poll there, but VertiGIS Studio, formerly GeoCortex, so same product line, or same products, I guess, but we're now VertiGIS Studio. So you may have recognized the GeoCortex name, but we are now VertiGIS Studio. So we're now actually 21 years old, and our headquarters is out in Victoria, BC, Canada. Essentially, we offer web and mobile GIS frameworks and solutions that allow you to extend and do more with your Esri implementation. We have a release-ready ArcGIS Online and state and local government specialties with Esri. And we're a marketplace provider as well. We have 41 partners in reseller technology and implementation capacities, and we're one of only 14 of Esri's platinum partners. So our product line is broken up into viewer frameworks and capabilities. The viewer frameworks allow users to build fully customized applications using our configuration framework. And our capabilities allow users to add in custom widgets and tools to solve their unique business challenges. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about VertiGIS Studio Web and VertiGIS Studio Workflow. So just a little bit on where we fit. So on VertiGIS Studio sort of fits in the middle between basic out-of-the-box configurable apps and going fully custom, where apps can take considerable time and develop huge costs. VertiGIS Studio greatly excels when basic configuration isn't enough and custom development is just not an option. So one of the major features of VertiGIS Studio is its ability to extend into existing systems. So whether it's document management, asset management, database providers, you name it, VertiGIS Studio can help you build apps that can be fully integrated into your system of record. Today, we'll be looking at how the power of Nearmap technology can be brought into your VertiGIS Studio apps to gain new insights, improve asset management, and enhance data collection capabilities. So, jumping right into user success stories, we've got Tim Connor starting off from Oklahoma County, who's going to show us how they've been able to impact the assessor industry with Nearmap integrated in VertiGIS Studio. Then we'll have Cheryl and Kevin from the city of Kelowna in British Columbia show us how they were able to quickly see the return on their investment, implementing multiple use cases to solve their business needs using our technologies. So Tim, take it away.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me here today. Here at the Oklahoma County Assessor's Office, it's our job to go out and view every parcel of that we have here in the county for tax purposes. So just a little bit of an overview, some quick facts. Oklahoma County is 720 square miles. We have about 320,000 parcel counts, a population that incorporates a few cities that is around 725,000 people. Here at the Assessor's Office, we only have 81 employees. 40 of those, so almost half, take up field appraisers. In the mapping department, where we utilize most of our stuff, we only have 2 GIS techs currently and 2 interns that work with us. We've been a VertiGIS, like Paul said. Paul, I do believe, said it was GeoCortex at the time, but we've been an outstanding customer of theirs since 2003. That's 19 years, and Nearmap customer since 2018. As we kind of go forward, some of the general aspects, we launched our site in 1996 with GeoCortex, and there have been over 7 million account page views, 4 million name searches. This site is widely used and has been used very, very broadly with the real estate agents here and even taxpayers just trying to see where their property is and how their property lines can be seen with the use of these websites. Our Nearmap details, we have 2 full county flights. One of those flights will feature oblique imagery. We're sub 3-inch resolution, and everybody that wants access within our county that is an employee here has access to it under our countywide agreement with Nearmap. I'm going to jump out to our site really quick and show a little bit of a display of how we like to use our mapping website, and then go into a little bit of change detection that we've been working as well within the past few years. This is our VertiGIS site. Right now I have my Nearmap aerials turned on. We have multiple widgets that we have and we can use to locate things. But the main thing that we're focusing on today is how we really got into change detection with the county. As you can tell, we have December 2019 aerials and then December 2021 aerials currently on. The ones that you're currently seeing is 2019 from the structure. But one thing that we started doing with our crew is we would have everybody just kind of pick an area that they use for their visual inspection cycle. And what they were doing is not only going out to these properties to see, we would want to see, hey, maybe we need to take more dedicated times to actually see some of these use cases of parcels, like new buildings popping up. And the way that we would do that is we'd come onto the site and we just use these time sliders or these opacity sliders to be able to figure out where it is. So you just have whatever year you have, and then you just slide it back. And as you can tell, well, you can see that parcel, we probably need to check up on this parcel and see what exactly has been built here. I know, and if you saw whenever I was zooming in and out and the Nearmap wasn't quite loaded yet, this is a new Amazon fulfillment center that they put in since 2019. So that definitely was able to be caught in the early stages. And what we do now, though, is we now go with change detection with a company called Apex, and I think they were just purchased by iLookabout. Basically what we do is they will go and take all of our sketches and put them onto our into our database, where our sketches are now our building footprints. And if the building footprints don't match up, that obviously means there's probably some changes that we need to go investigate these accounts maybe with. Nearmap is a big process for that, because we were able to use Nearmap site by using KMZs. We were able to go through and overlay all these to be able to have these active time sliders to figure out where these buildings actually were and see how these building footprints actually added up. As you can see right here, here's the 2020 and here's 2018. You can see that wasn't there in 2018, and it matches up pretty dang good from what we can see. There's a little bit of a variance, but as you can tell from 2018, that's going to be a major variance for us if we don't have that actually on our books. So that's what we're doing here in Oklahoma County. As you can see, we like to use our oblique imagery as well for the major variance to see exactly what it might be, to tell if it's a residential, commercial, or something along those lines. But as you can see, here in Oklahoma County, we're trying to adapt and change to the newest technologies. And with Nearmap and the VertiGIS studios, we're able to do that effectively. And the thing that we are working with or trying to get as best as we can is this oblique view is the next integration into our VertiGIS studios application. Thank you guys so much. If you guys have any other questions, contacts, or anything like that, don't be afraid to send me an email. With that, I'll send it on to the next to the city of Kelowna.
Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation on how the city of Kelowna is using Nearmap and VertiGIS Studio to provide GIS solutions for many business areas across the city. My name is Cheryl Trent, and I'm the Data Services and Analytics Manager for the city of Kelowna. I'll be presenting today with my colleague, Kevin Steele, who is a business systems analyst with the city. The city of Kelowna is located in the Okanagan region of BC. That's about 250 miles northeast of Vancouver or 300 miles northeast of Seattle. A few facts about Kelowna. The population of our city is just under 150,000, and according to the 2021 census, we are the fastest growing city in all of Canada. We have experienced approximately 10% growth per year for the last 20 years. At the city, we have just over 1,100 employees that serve our community. During our presentation today, we're going to talk about how Nearmap and VertiGIS Studio products and how we are making them accessible to city staff. I'll go over some of our use cases at the city, and Kevin will go into more detail with a couple of great demos that I think you'll really find interesting. We'll finish up with some of the benefits that we're realizing with our Nearmap and VertiGIS products, and then we'll take a look at the road ahead for the city. Our Nearmap subscription includes the 5-centimeter imagery, or I suppose in the States it would be the 3-inch imagery. So we have vertical, panoramic, and oblique available to us. We also have a variety of AI layers in raster and vector format for surfaces, building footprints, and vegetation. We have the 3D Mextured Tesh and the public display license for government. Nearmap is pretty new to the city. We started our subscription just a few months ago in October, and we added the 3D mesh earlier this year in January. We also have licensing for the VertiGIS Studio products for web, reporting, printing, and workflow. And on the data side of things, we're using Esri's ArcGIS Enterprise, ArcGIS Urban, and ArcGIS Online. We currently have over 100 city users with accounts to use the Nearmap browser. And all 1,100 of our staff have access to vertical imagery in our Kelowna map viewer built with VertiGIS technology. With the public display license in place, our citizens also have access to the Nearmap imagery in our public-facing map viewer. Here you can just see some of the few of the business areas that are using our Nearmap products. Next, I'm going to go over a sampling of some of our use cases at the city. For situational awareness and feature identification, the high-resolution imagery is enabling us to see things more clearly, from property renovations to street painting and manhole covers. For stormwater modeling, the AI-derived layers for surfaces and vegetation are being used to better understand stormwater runoff conditions for the city's upcoming downtown stormwater management plan. The Nearmap imagery makes it possible to do basic pavement condition assessments as a desktop exercise instead of having to head out into the field. For bylaw enforcement, with 2 acquisitions per year going back to 2019, bylaw can really look at changes through time and see what's happening out in the field. For planning applications, our planners are using Nearmap products for a variety of applications, and Nearmap's being imported into our ArcGIS Urban application for modeling and scenario analysis, which you could see is very key for the amount of growth that we're facing in our city. For building permits, having our Nearmap imagery embedded in our VertiGIS property viewer can decrease the need for site visits and help us with site plans. In a recent project for parking lot construction, Nearmap was used to find the slope of the land and calculate how many dump truck loads would be required to flatten the land for a parking lot. And service requests. Nearmap and VertiGIS are really helping us with our service requests. In his demo, Kevin will show us an example of how Nearmap is helping the city. So it's only been a few months, so we're just getting started, and there's so much more we can do. So now I'm going to hand things off to Kevin to lead us through a couple of demos.
Thanks, Cheryl. As the fastest growing city in Canada, staff and council are dealing with pressures relating to the increase in demand for staff time as well as making better informed decisions. This demo will show you some ways we have integrated Nearmap and VertiGIS into our daily workflows to allow us to work more efficiently. Here's a screen grab of a service request that came in last September. The person has sent in a complaint claiming that Dougal Road North has been unpaved by the developer for 2 years and that it needs to be repaved. Now, we have a lot of development going along the city, so that was pretty generic request because they don't provide any other information such as an address or intersection of where the problem is occurring. Historically, a staff member from the roads team would need to take the 30-minute drive from their office to Dougal Road and investigate. Find the problem, get the address, take it back to their office, and start investigating if the developer is in contravention of their development permit. So let me show you how easy it is to investigate this issue using Nearmap's web map service that we plug directly into our VertiGIS map viewer. So this is our internal map viewer that all city staff have access to. First, we need to find Dougal Road North. You can do that just by typing it into the search bar. It automatically takes you there. The next thing we can do is turn on our Nearmap imagery. I'm going to turn on the most recent one, which was taken of August 28th of 2021, which is about three weeks prior to when this complaint came in. All we have to do is pan down the street and find the area that has been dug up. The next thing we can do is confirm if it's true that this road has been dug up for 2 years. Well, we have historical imagery back to May of 2019. So we can just start walking through and finding out when was this road dug up. It was still intact in May of 2019. This is August of 2019. Still there. We've got March of 2020. Again, the road still is completely fine. July of 2020. And now we're in May of 2021, which is 4 months prior to the complaint coming in. You can see the parcel is starting to be developed, but the road still hasn't been dug up. So in reality, it hasn't been 2 years since the road was dug up. It's somewhere between 2 to 3 months. But we can still go further. Thanks to VertiGIS's ability to link to other systems that we have, we can connect directly to our development permit system inside this map viewer. So all we have to do is click on the property and look at our property related systems and select our building permits. This property has an open building permit, and if I clicked on this link, it would give me the details that I'm looking for. But unfortunately, if I do that, I'll be divulging some confidential information. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it that yes, this developer has the proper permits to dig up this road, and according to the permit, the road needs to be repaired by the end of October. So before the Nearmap and VertiGIS integration, that service request would have taken at least an hour and a half to complete. Now in under 10 minutes, we have been able to locate the issue, confirm that the road hasn't been dug up for 2 years, and send a message back to the person making the complaint, informing them that the road will be back to normal by the end of October. Last year, our city received just over 49,000 service requests. If we can use these tools on just 10% of requests that are similar to this one, we have saved over 7,000 hours of staff time. That equates to the yearly savings of about 3 full-time staff. The next demo I'm going to show you is a brand new tool for us. One of our developers just put it together last week, and it is still a work in progress, but I thought it was interesting enough to give you a sneak peek. We recently purchased Nearmap's 3D Mesh and are leveraging VertiGIS Studio Web to help us use it. So here's a look. So as you can see, we can pan around and rotate around a subject property and get a real good feel of what is happening on the ground without the need of a field visit. A couple years ago, our staff created a 2-dimensional digital twin of our city that tracks everything we know about a parcel in a centralized location. But until now, we didn't have an efficient way of displaying this information in a realistic fashion without the time-consuming effort of creating realistic 3-dimensional building models for every parcel and updating them as new developments were constructed. Thanks to Nearmap, we are able to provide a realistic view of what our city looks like today. The exciting thing for us is that Nearmap flies over our city twice a year, so the mesh can be updated as required, giving us that realistic model we've been looking for without the maintenance time required to keep it up to date. With a click of a button, we can now flip between the 3D and 2D environment. In the 2D environment, we have leveraged VertiGIS technology to pull in various pieces of our digital twin. So in this view, we have identified all the properties currently under redevelopment, either in the planning stage, which are the dark gray, or have begun construction, which are the blue crosshatch. In the past, our city looked at each development in its own individual silo. With this tool, it allows us to look at development in a more holistic way and to proactively plan for tomorrow. Eventually, our plan is to drop in proposed building models that will be provided by the developers straight into this view. It'll be a powerful tool to help us show staff, council, and the public how new developments and even multiple developments in close proximity to one another will fit into a rapidly changing neighborhoods in our downtown area. So these are just some of the ways we have integrated Nearmap and VertiGIS into our workflows to make us more efficient and allow us to make better informed decisions. I'm now going to pass it back to Cheryl.
Thanks, Kevin. Here you can see some of the benefits that we're realizing from our Nearmap subscription and integration with our VertiGIS products. We've never had 5-centimeter resolution before. It's so clear and crisp. We have a guaranteed 2 acquisitions per year. We have no waiting or processing time. We don't need to QA/QC any imagery deliverables or process anything or even publish our own imagery services. And we have found it really easy to integrate Nearmap with VertiGIS Studio and our Esri product suite. So as I've mentioned, we really are just getting started, and looking ahead, we'll be incorporating the 3D mesh into our GIS products. We will create 3D VertiGIS Studio web applications with our Nearmap products to allow for easy access across the organization. We plan to use the raster and vector AI layers for more analysis and reporting. And as you've seen from Kevin's demo, we're developing a 3D representation of our digital twin with VertiGIS Studio and Nearmap. We reached the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we're happy to answer any questions.
That was great. Thank you, guys. Okay, so Kevin and I are going to show sort of, I guess, what's next with our technology. So what we're looking at here is a VertiGIS Studio web application that contains some Nearmap data. Just do a quick tour of the VertiGIS Studio web application if you haven't seen it before. But this is a fully customizable interface. So this is a fully drag and drop designer that we have. That's a cloud-based or SaaS based. So you can sign in on the web and start designing your applications. And so anything you see on here is a configurable. So you're able to go in and drag and drop these elements, remove, add all sorts of stuff from our configuration. So lots of components to choose from. In this one, you've got some basic tools. You can see basic GIS tools. On the left-hand side, you can see some items. So a few things I wanted to highlight here are layouts. This is one of the new features in VertiGIS Studio Web, the ability to swap layouts on the fly. So you can here we've got a search layout, a dashboard layout, 3D scene, and mobile. So these are all within the same application. So there's no need to build multiple applications for different use cases. You can build in the one application, you can have multiple layouts. I'll show this here in a minute. I'll show an example after our demo here, but one item I wanted to highlight as well is the ability to have a mobile layout. So let's say you're on desktop and you switch to mobile, you can switch easily over to the mobile layout as well. Got some other tools here. One of them is setting the theme. So this simply just changes it to light theme and dark theme. You can see that the imagery there changes on the fly. I can change it back to dark theme here. Looks like I'm just going to refresh the map here. My Nearmap imagery looks like it timed out while I was sitting there. So I'm just going to give it a quick refresh here. Nearmap data, the imagery is serviced through a subscription through ArcGIS Online. So that's why I've got some my credentials here. So when I sign in, this is actually authenticating the Nearmap imagery on the map. Just wait for it to load here. While I'm at it here, I can show you the ability to load a project. So I've got an option here to load a project file, which sort of loads a specific state of my map into the viewer. So once I select that, hit OK, I'm brought to a specific extent. Layers are configured to visibility that I so choose, and I'm ready to go. That would be helpful if you had somebody else maybe working in your map and they were doing some work. They saved the project in the current state and they were able to pass it maybe to a colleague to continue working from there. On the left-hand side here as well is the ability to use our VertiGIS Studio print technology. And that's just the ability, if you've seen it before, it's our printing technology to be able to sort of customize a print template on the fly. Cancel that out. So what we're going to see here, and Kevin's going to talk a little bit more about the data. So as I mentioned here, this data on the map is a feature service that's published to a web map, and it was produced by Nearmap's AI technology. Kevin, you want to chat about the data in a little bit more detail here?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. If you just want to switch over, yeah, perfect. Just so we can kind of get a look at the library of AI here. So what we're looking at as far as layers go, we've got underneath is the vertical imagery that all these AI data sets were produced from. So Nearmap's been doing AI for several years now, but with machine learning algorithms, you kind of have to train them to get better at detecting the features from that image. And that's what Nearmap has been working on a very rich library of consistent sub 3-inch resolution. So we are in the right place to be doing a lot of this AI intelligence, and it's a big foot forward for the company and the direction that we're heading. So as you can see in the list on the left here, we've got a variety of pretty much everything from the power and light poles down is us. We just brought in some utility information to kind of play around with in this web app as well. So we're actually, those aren't our layers, those are the city of Naperville's. But everything below from the swimming pools, power and light poles, solar panels, roof characteristics, roof materials, building footprints, all of that is extracted from our aerial captures. And we're actually bringing in the imagery using a web map service. So when you are a Nearmap customer, we have a super easy 3-step process to create an API application and then create a custom WMS where you can actually geofence an area, and then it calls down all the imagery from the cloud for that specific area in our capture footprint. And then that can easily be ingested into a variety of third-party applications. For this one, obviously, is VertiGIS, but also any Esri applications, AutoCAD, Bentley, a lot of those designing applications as well. But back to the AI. So for this kind of example, we really wanted to take a look at the city of Naperville has a public data portal, and since we were talking about different assessments, or Tim and Cheryl and Kevin were, we extracted their property assessment data and brought it into this application. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to use Nearmap's AI to kind of cross-check or cross-reference or visually QC what's happening within that permit process. So the little bubbles that are on each parcel are actually a stack of points that represent building permits that are for a variety of different property-specific projects, and are at a variety of different stages in the permitting process. So getting all these different property characteristics from a frequently captured image can help you proactively stay on top of your permit process, and even help you flag issues that you might not have seen if you're just looking at a spreadsheet, or if you're using your CAMA system that doesn't have any visual components to it. Paul, I don't know if you want to switch over to the dashboards and maybe explain that, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, I'll kick off the current construction workflow, the ability to view construction sites on the map, and Kevin can take it once I kick it off here. But the idea here would be to be able to find the construction site on a map and be able to view all the permits associated with it. So what this does, I just kicked it off there. It's a VertiGIS Studio workflow that I just kicked off, and what the workflow does is automatically pans out to view all of the construction sites in the entire city, right? So it just changes the extent to all of the, so that all of the construction sites are within the current extent here. So you can see all these red bubbles here are the construction sites here. So I happen to want to look at site 1. We can see we're back to where we were before, and what it does here is it's able to pull a couple of things. So we're able to see the permits that are associated with that, and also a couple of nice looking charts here that show how many permits were issued per year in the last few years, and the permit type. So this pie chart shows all the different types of permits that are here. So lawn sprinkler permit, right of way permit. So all these different permits that are associated with this construction site. as well, we've got the ability now in a table to look at all those permits in a little bit more further detail, kind of looking at all the attributes and seeing all the characteristics of that. Kevin, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so for a couple of our AI packs, as Paul was showing, the construction site pack is really unique because it's really putting like a timestamp and a red flag of where all the construction's happening within your area of interest. So just as he showed, using that VertiGIS workflow, it's super easy to be able to locate all the construction that is happening during that current flight, and then be able to zoom to those individual sites and kind of analyze what's exactly happening at that site. And so this property that we're zoomed in right now is kind of a perfect example because it has almost all of our AI characteristics associated to it. So you can see that they're building a pool in their backyard, and then I can look down to the chart below in the permit type to make sure that they've got their they've got a spa and hot tub permit, they've got their pool and ground permit. If they were putting solar panels on their roof, you would see that permit pulled for that. Any impervious surfaces, the total square footage can be calculated from our concrete and asphalt, as well as building footprints, AI layers. Since they're all being delivered in vector now, each one of those polygons has an area field where you can calculate the surface area of that specific feature. So a lot of communities are moving towards, being able to calculate impervious surface to help develop their stormwater utility tax. All of those insights can be extracted from the AI that we're producing from each one of these captures. So another interesting piece about this little area is you can see that every parcel pretty much has a permit pulled on it except for these two on the corner. So I don't know if the city of Naperville is on the call or not, but it's pretty clear that they've got several outbuildings or detached garages, and if there's no permit associated to that property, but we're picking up that those features in fact do exist, you can either go back in through the historical captures to see when they were maybe installed, but then also double check your camera system to see that if maybe there's an issue with how the permits were logged, or if there's no permits in general. And then you actually have high resolution aerial imagery as well as AI insights to be able to go back to that resident and get to the bottom of why there's no permits pulled for any of those features that's part of their property.
I just switched the layout there, and I'll zoom back into where we were looking at here. And I switched it to the 3D view, and that gives you obviously a 2D, so we can still see our Nearmap imagery and the Nearmap AI data. In a second here, we'll see the 3D scene come in, so we can get another angle at what we're seeing here. So 1 sec, we'll see those building parcels start to come in. And we just can get a better idea of the shape of those buildings we're curious about, just to confirm that those are outbuildings maybe that are detached and will maybe do require some permits, or at least check the data to confirm why the permits may not be there.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to switch back to just going to show just one other example here, another example of a workflow. And it kind of builds off of what we're seeing here. So I'm going to just use the same, I'm going to use a bookmark here actually to go back to my location. And let's say we needed to kick off a work order. So we've noticed that there's something that needs to be addressed, and we need to create a work order for this property. So what we can do is use the right-click menu here, and we've got in the context menu, we've got the ability to create a work order. What this does is kicks off a workflow that connects to a few things here. So I'm just going to enter my credentials. So this workflow does a few things. So right off the bat, we're able to choose what feature we're interested in. So right away, this buffer here is picking up all of the tree features that are within the buffer. I can choose signs. What this will do, the workflow just changes the visibility from turns off the trees, turns on the signs. We've only got a few signs in this buffer here, it looks like. Street lights, there may not be many here in the middle of the road, and buildings. And that's what we're interested in here. So we've got a few buildings that we've selected within our buffer. Let me see if I can choose the one I'm interested in here. We'll do that, that structure there. And so what's there's a connection here to CityWorks actually. So there's an integration here to a CityWorks instance. And so a couple of things are happening. As that was loading, it was picking up information or pulling in information from CityWorks. So in this case, it was pulling in the entity type, and I can choose my template. So these entities are pulling in from CityWorks, like I said, and it automatically defaulted to what's appropriate for a building there. Then I can choose my template. So let's just say I need to install a gas valve. That's the work that needs to be completed in order to complete the work. I could set a priority on that, add an attachment here, and go ahead and create the work order. And at the end there, I can bring up my CityWorks instance here. I won't get into it there, but essentially it connects to CityWorks and submits that work order right into CityWorks. So we've got sort of a full process here that we're able to complete. So we've got the AI data to sort of identify what work may need to be done. We bring in VertiGIS Studio technology to perform the work, or use some tools here to perform the work. And then we can submit the work over to our other system there, the CityWorks system, to actually proceed with the work. That's all we had here today. If we want to maybe look at some questions or maybe poll. Actually, no, I have a slide here at the end. My apologies. One more slide. So just to recap here, we've got just showing the value prop of integrating Nearmap into VertiGIS Studio. So integrating Nearmap high resolution, frequently captured aerial imagery and AI data sets into an intuitive and extensible VertiGIS Studio framework will improve asset management performance, enhance data collection capabilities, and provide more in-depth and flexibility to solving unique business challenges. So you can get creative with on how to solve those unique challenges that you're facing.
We have a question about what use case do you have for the AI products of Nearmap?
Yeah, thanks. We do have several use cases for the AI products, and as I know I've mentioned, but we are just kind of getting started with that. I did mention the stormwater modeling, where we're using vegetation and surfaces. So for the surface AI layers, there's actually permeable and impermeable. There's asphalt, concrete slab, lawn grass, sand, dirt, and gravel, and water bodies. So that's really useful for things like stormwater modeling. Our bylaw, planning, and building departments, they use the building footprints layers and the surface layers. And our engineering department recently started a project for collecting natural assets and doing a natural asset inventory. So they are looking at the vegetation layers that Nearmap has provided. We have a climate change group, and they look at the vegetation for changes through time. Again, having this information able to go backwards and forwards in time is super useful for trend analysis. So off the top of my head, those are some of the use cases we're using the AI layers for.
Excellent. I know that will be helpful for a lot of folks. Kevin, we've got a collection of questions for you. Our first one is, are there any examples using Nearmap AI to identify buildings or vegetation, but in particular, they're looking for trees?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we do produce a building footprints AI pack and a building characteristics AI pack. So that will identify buildings, and we can deliver those in Polygon, or we can deliver that in single band raster. So the vector data sets can be delivered in a geo package, GeoJSON, or in a file geodatabase. And the difference between the building footprints and the building characteristics, they're both the same polygon, but the building characteristics actually have some 3D attributes associated to them. So with our HyperCamera 2 system, which is one of our patented cameras, that's the one that produces the 3D and oblique imagery. We can calculate the building height and then also start classifying these buildings by number of stories. And in particular to the vegetation, we can create 3 different vegetation layers. So there's a very low, a low vegetation, and a medium to high vegetation layer. The medium to high is going to be your true canopy, anything that's above 6 feet. Low vegetation is anything between 1.5 feet and 6 feet, and then very low is anything below 1.5 feet. So we've had communities use that to establish their vegetation management programs, as well as do environmental research like doing change detection across the different captures and analyzing leaf-on captures in that medium to high vegetation layer.
Excellent. Folks would like to know, can they add in or edit points in Nearmap? Could they collect data, for example, speed bumps on streets?
Yeah, so if you're just using the imagery in one of your GIS applications or in a CAD application, you can go in and trace and digitize and create whatever features you want. So basically, when you've got sub 3-inch resolution, you can even trace the cracks on a street if you wanted to.
Very cool. Question, does it require custom code to integrate Nearmap content into VertiGIS Studio?
There is no custom code required. As I was mentioning before, with creating the WMS inside of your Nearmap account, once you have that web map service created, it's as simple as just adding a map service to your ArcGIS Online map, and then you bring the URL of that web map into VertiGIS Studio to associate it with their template.
Wonderful. Great information. Now, I know you're going to be excited about this. Somebody says, okay, how do I get a Nearmap login?
Great. So we will have some contact information on the last slide. I think it's info@nearmap.com. We can get you in touch with one of our account executives from our inbound group, and they will be able to get you set up with a demo.
Awesome.
In a trial.
That's great news. So we'll drop this into the chat for everybody, just in case you're ready to send that email right now. So that's info@nearmap.com. Thanks. All right. Checking real quickly here on our questions. We've got just a few more minutes.
Question there.
Yeah, we've got a couple more coming in. So if they're not using one of these technologies, what does that look like?
Yeah, so Nearmap does provide a viewer. We have our map browser, and that's where we're streaming all of our imagery content to our cloud and then streaming that through map browser so that customers can interact with our products without having to purchase a third-party application. Depending on if you're a government entity or a commercial entity, the pricing is a little bit different. We can get more information on that, but you will be able to access all these different content types and interact with them using our measurement tools and mark up some projects, things like that.
Awesome. Okay, so just a reminder, folks, do keep an eye on your inbox in the coming day, or a couple of days. Give us a chance to get the video ready for you, and we will be following up with links that these guys have to share with you as well. All right. Okay. I think maybe these last couple of questions
Yeah, I
are...
can, Barbary, I think there's one in there
Yep.
that might be directed towards me. I can answer. The question is,
Perfect.
can you do, can you do the demonstration with Essentials, or can you integrate with Essentials? What are the difference between Essentials and Web is Web as SAS only? So many differences between GeoCortex Essentials, which is our sort of legacy product, which a lot of our customers still have. VertiGIS Studio Web is our next generation viewer. It is, the question is SAS only. No, it is SAS, so you can log into a public website using your ArcGIS identity and sign in, but it does have an on-prem installer as well. So if there's a need to install it versus the SaaS option, you can do that. Like I said, there's many differences between the two. One specific one for sure is the design experience for VertiGIS Studio Web. Like I said in the presentation, it's a drag and drop interface. All of the different components in the application can be configured and moved around and to whatever design you so choose. There's new features. Obviously, it runs on the JavaScript, Esri's JavaScript 4X, so we get the 3D technology in there, and a variety of other features. So definitely give us a shout if you're interested in getting a kind of a full list of all those differences.
Wonderful. So we'll drop this address into the chat for you in case you are ready to get started with VertiGIS as well. All right. Well, thanks again to the team for bringing your amazing demos today. Lots of really cool things happening around AI and imagery, and hope that you make it a great day. Tell a friend about Nearmap and VertiGIS and Directions Magazine. We'd appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.